In terms of writing the screenplay for this film, tell us about the decisions you had to make around authenticity, when to stay kind of slavishly true to the book and when to be able to go, no, we can capture the spirit of that scene or of an angle of the book without having to be exactly word for word. Tell us about that process of the freedom to be true to the spirit rather than to the letter of the book.
Well, I think I was emboldened on that. I had the benefit of having done the play first, and I'm pretty sure that the initial audience who booked early and thankfully kind of made our first season sell out, that first wave of audience were definitely the readership. And we were, I guess at that stage, were probably nervous about what they would make of it, and they were so helpfully forgetful of the detail of the book or just embracing of its new shape. And knowing that was a really useful lesson for doing the screenplay, because it told us that no one wants a 9-hour film. Adaptation has to embrace this new medium that it's taking on, has to do that. And so in that, there's a lot of freedom. The strange thing is, though, when I look at the film now, after all of that development and a lot of experimenting and some really radical departures along the way, now the film to me seems to be very loyal to the spirit of the book, more so than the play, in my opinion. And that's where we arrived at. But there's a great freedom that happens, I think, in colliding moments. And the great thing, of course, that Neil brought to that process is his tireless scrutiny. One of the things I've learnt from working with Neil is that he has an incredible stamina for his work. And I admire that greatly. I remember, was it maybe 18 months ago or something, and we were heading towards our last sort of chapter of development, and Neil had one day off from directing The Ring Cycle. No little gig. The biggest opera you can, 4 operas you can take on. And on his day off, he spent that on script development with me, and we worked until 1 a.m. And that stamina for the job is also comes down to Neil's scrutiny as well, which, as Neil's just sort of said, you sort of hold off any locking down what something is and continue to mine it and ask questions of it. David Hare recently described Neil as a director that some directors are salesmen, I think he said, but Neil's a detective. And Neil will never dress it up to make it look finished. He just keeps on challenging the work to tell us what it wants to be. So that was a huge part of this process.